My name is Gideon. Once again, I welcome you to Renewing Your Minds with Proclaimer Christian Drama Ministry, Providence, United States. And on this episode, I'm joined with an amazing woman, a graduate of New York University, and also a graduate of Fordham Law School. She worked as a master's general agent at American Income Life, and currently working as both a medical insurance agent with Connection Point and a life and health agent with FFL. Both are reputable organizations. And here with me, I have Jenny Jones. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you for having me here.
So what else do you want to add to this introduction? What do you want to tell your viewers about you?
Yeah, so I moved to Providence not too long ago, a few years ago, during the pandemic. I used to be a practicing attorney in New York. I was a trial attorney. I worked with a lot of insurance companies. I did some estate planning. And that was I graduated law school in 2000. So
wow,
yeah,
that's
for some many years. And then when I moved to Rhode Island, I was not admitted, and I didn't want to take the time during the pandemic, so I fell into insurance, life insurance. My first experience was with American Income, and then I rose to management there, which was great. And then after my mother passed away, I sort of switched gears. I got more into a different sort of insurance. I started working more in Medicare insurance and then health and life with Family First Life, which is where I'm at now. So I learned about more products out there to really help people. So yeah, and I'm loving my time here. I'm a mother of two. I have two sons. My oldest son has his wife in New York, and they have a 2-year-old, so I'm a grandma as well.
Oh, grandma.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
So what about years of experience?
Yeah, so I've about at least 3 years experience as an agent in life insurance, but I worked with one of the largest insurance companies in the world for a few years from 2005. I worked for AIG as one of their attorneys. So I work with insurance companies both as a lawyer and now as an agent. So I have many years experience.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So for our viewers this morning, it's very, very important that we discuss this issue of life insurance.
Yes.
Because it seems like not everybody is well informed on what life insurance is all about and why they should subscribe to a life insurance. Can you just shed a little light about that?
Yeah, so life insurance is there to sort of not just help take care of, your debt and your family after you die. It's a lot of people use it so that they can leave a legacy, right? So you can use life insurance. It's necessary so that your family does not have to pay out of their pocket for your burial, for your funeral services when you die. Also, certain sorts of debts will continue when you die that you don't want to leave your family to pay out of their pocket. So life insurance protects so that you can protect those assets, right? So let's say you own a home, you may want to get some insurance to make sure that when you pass away, your family can stay in that home, right? Because you have a mortgage. So you don't want to leave your spouse who may not be able to pay that without your income. Because when you pass away, it's not just you that leaves, your income leaves, right? So you want to have that protection for your family. You also want to ensure that your children can still go to college, that, you leave something for them. You can protect that education by having a little extra insurance to make sure there's enough so that without your income, they'll still be able to go to college, right? And you also want to protect your family so that they can still adjust once you're no longer there to paying the bills without you there. So you want to leave something called income protection. But life insurance is important for those people you leave behind. Additionally, a lot of the life insurance products also have living benefits, right? So if God forbid you get cancer, you have a heart attack, you have a stroke, you can pull money out of your policy with those living benefits while you're alive.
Yeah, I mean that was one thing I said I was going to even ask
Yes,
you that,
yes.
because some people are very scared that okay, I mean how would I benefit from life insurance after my demise?
Right.
So that's why most people don't see the reason why they should subscribe to it, that okay, so after I'm gone, then somebody else takes over and they enjoy maybe what I've labored for. So now you're talking about living benefits. So there are living benefits that comes with life insurance.
Yeah, for certain policies there are, right?
Okay.
You can get certain policies that have these living benefits included, like for critical illness, chronic illness, terminal illness, so that if you're diagnosed with, let's say you get cancer, right?
Right.
I have a client who was just diagnosed with stage 4 colon rectal cancer. You could put in a request to that policy so that you can take those benefits while you're alive. Let's say you have $100,000 policy that has those living benefits. You could pull out $80,000 so that you can live off of that while you're alive,
okay.
and then you leave the other $20,000, so that your family has a way to bury you. So those are some of the perks of getting policies with living benefits. There are also standalone policies you can get that you can insure against things like cancer, heart attack, or stroke. But those are the things that you can take while you're alive that will help your family. Because if you're sick after a heart attack or a stroke, you may not be able to work. And disability may end after a certain point, right? So then how would you take care of your family? How are you going to pay all your bills?
All right, so that's very. I mean, it's very very good for you to like the way you just made it clearer now that it's not just there that until just after you die.
Right.
I mean, while you're alive, you can still take advantage of the policy.
Right.
Yeah, but another thing is, I remember I was listening to a podcast one time because in the Bible that we preach now today, in the Bible it says that a good man leaves inheritance for his children's children.
Yes.
So in a podcast I was listening to, this guy was saying that most people don't understand that life insurance policy is a way of transferring wealth, generational wealth. Do you agree with that?
100%. Wealthy people get life insurance because they're protecting their assets. They want to leave a legacy to their grandchildren, to the next generations, right? It's amazing. I've done estate planning as an attorney as well, right?
Oh, nice.
And so when people are doing their estates, yes, they have life insurance to take care of the debt because they want to make sure that their children get this money, that their debt doesn't eat up their estate. And that is where that's where that mindset comes from. You can take out policies to ensure that you leave an inheritance for your children and for your grandchildren. And the best time to do it is when you're young and healthy, to be honest with you, right? It costs less, and it's the best time to make sure you're able to qualify. Because when you get very sick and you're older, it becomes very expensive and it's harder to qualify. You don't automatically get life insurance with money. You have to be healthy and you have to be able to qualify for it.
Okay.
Now, there are policies out there. There are some carriers who will insure people who have sickness. I insured 3 people this week who had cancer. They have very small policies and it's very expensive. I was able to get them $10,000 so that they can be buried. But if you want to leave a legacy, you want to do it while you're still young, while you're healthy, and you hold on to it. You can do a nice whole life policy, or you can do a long-term policy, maybe a 30-year policy. So this way, while your children are young, you're making sure that you have $500,000 maybe that's going to cover to pay off your mortgage, that's going to cover for their college education, that's going to cover you in case you get sick, cover them in case they get sick, cover your wife. You want to make sure that you protect your whole family, protect your assets, because as I mentioned earlier, the problem is what people don't realize is that when you pass away or when you get really ill, your income may stop. And then what happens to your family? You know, what happens to your children and your grandchildren?
Yeah, I think it's high time we start thinking that, okay, when you leave, what happens to your family, right? So if we start thinking about that, then we want to start making provisions down for them. But is there a minimum age requirement? Because you're talking about starting the best time to start to subscribe to a life insurance policy is when you're at a young age. Like, how young are you talking about? Is there a minimum age requirement?
No, I have a policy for my grandson. I had for him when he was just like 2 weeks old. I got him a $25,000 whole life policy.
Oh, so are you saying that even children can also have life policies?
Yes, and the great thing about whole life is you can borrow against it or you can cash the policy in later, right? So I got him a $25,000 whole life policy. It'll be paid off by the time he's 20 because there are whole life policies you can get.
Can you just shed a little, because some of the viewers might not really understand what you mean by whole life policy, especially someone who's watching this and doesn't even have any idea about what the policy is all about. So what do you mean by the whole life policy? Just if you can make.
Oh, sure. So a whole life policy is a policy that will cover you for no matter when you die. If you live to be 120, that policy covers you, right? And there are some that you pay for as long as you live, basically until you're 100. There are some that you can pay off in 10 years or 20 years, right? But you'll always have that policy. And there are some where you pay them off and they'll still continue to grow, right? So it's like a little investment. And whole life, so there's two types of life insurance. There's whole life and there's term. Term covers you for a period, let's say 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, right? Then it ends. You don't have the coverage when the term ends, right? Whole life, no matter how long you live, you'll always have that coverage.
So if I may understand what you say, Clarence, so the term life, is it term life you called it?
Term life.
Okay, so the term life, let's assume like maybe you're talking about maybe like for 10 years, for instance. Yeah. So if it only covers you for 10 years,
right?
Should anything happen to you within that period,
right?
After the 10 years, is it renewable?
It's renewable, but it's going to be a lot more expensive, right? So term life products are good for short-term uses, right? Because as you get older, even though you may be able to renew it, it's going to cost you more. With the whole life product, whatever your premium is monthly for that product, it does not change. It stays flat. With the term, unless it's like some of these universal sort of index policies, they fluctuate. But simple whole life, you're going to pay the same thing every month. Your premium's not going to go up. With term, at the end of the term, you're sort of renegotiating with your insurance carrier and the price will change, right? And the older you are, the more expensive. Let's say your term policy ends when you're 75. They're not going to give you another 20-year or 10-year. It's going to renew each year, and every year the price will go up till, like, some of them are renewable till you're 95, but by the time you reach your 70s, it could be $2,000-$3,000 a month they want for the premium, depending on how much the actual policy is, which makes it unaffordable, right? So term, I would not recommend someone using term as like their burial or their final. They shouldn't, that's more short term. Like if you want to make sure you're covering your mortgage for that period, let's say you have a 20-year mortgage, right? I would recommend a 20-year term policy so that it's covering your mortgage for that period. Right. And I would recommend one with the return of premium, right? Because and living benefits, right? Because then it's serving two purposes. So it's covering your property so that if God forbid you were to pass away, your spouse who you leave behind can pay off the mortgage, right? But if you get the one with living benefits, you're also covering yourself so that if you get cancer, if you have a heart attack, if you have a stroke, you can pull money from that policy so you can pay your mortgage, right? Right. And if you get the one where you get the return of premium at the end, so the way that works is you have a 20-year term. Okay, you pay your premium. if you don't use it, let's say you don't pass away, you don't get sick, you get your full premium back at the end of that term. So,
Okay.
so let's say your premiums were, let's say, $1,000 a year. At the end of that 20-year period, you get back $20,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that makes sense.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. Though it sounds like it's just saving your money.
Yes.
Though the money is not growing though.
Right. It's
but
not growing, but it's protecting you.
It's protecting you.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
That's very interesting. So if for someone who really wants to know more about life insurance, okay, let's talk about an existing subscriber or an existing policyholder who wants to subscribe to life insurance, but doesn't really understand what he or she did. So where do they start from now? I want to review my life insurance policy. What should I look out for?
You should look at your policy. So you want to read your policy, right? And every policy, whether it be a whole life or a term policy, it's going to have that sheet on it that tells you your breakdown. Like if it's a whole life, it's going to show you the breakdown of how much interest your policy is earning, right?
Okay.
And what your cash value is at certain stages, what's your surrender value. So whole life policies do gain cash value, right? Most of them somewhere between 4 and 4.5%. And that cash value, you can borrow against it if you need to, and you can cash it in, right? If you don't want the policy anymore. But you want to have that information. It's going to be on the front page of the policy. And then after that, you're going to have the terms in there that tells you more about your policy, how it works, right? If it has living benefits or not, because some whole life policies do have living benefits as well. Some of them don't, right? It depends on what it is. And the term policy is going to give you a sheet. It's going to tell you what your rate is for like that 20-year period, if it's a 20-year. Then it tells you what your renewable rates are. And some of them go up until 95. Some of them stop when you reach your 70s, but they'll tell you what the renewals are for each year.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so this way you understand.
Oh.
Yeah, it should be in the policy. And that's usually like the first or the second page of the policy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can review it. And it'll tell you if it has living benefits or not. It's going to be in there with an explanation of how they work.
Okay.
Yes.
This is personal, but are you available for consultation, like when it comes to life insurance?
Of course,
And does your consultation come with a fee?
No, it's no cost.
If someone's watching you right now and needs more information, how can you be reached?
Yeah, so they can call me, 857-719-2253, or they can email me. My email.
I think the email will be better. No?
Yes.
So I say because sometimes when you call you'll be busy. Your grandmother.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know if I mentioned that she's a grandmother as well too.
Yeah.
So you might be busy with your grandkids and all of that. So maybe an email will do. So we'll just have your email displayed on the screen so that whoever have questions about about the life insurance, whether an existing subscriber as well, can just email you and make an appointment, and you should definitely be of help.
Yeah.
So what would you want to say to the Christians out there, brethren, or everybody at large watching this now, whether they have life insurance or whether they do not have one now? What message do you want to pass across to them?
Well, I want them to understand, because let me tell you, I know even from my personal family, I just had my cousin pass away very young, 53, no life insurance.
That. No life insurance.
With 2 children,
wow.
it's you don't want to, you don't expect it, right? She wasn't expecting it. No one expected it. She was still young, 53 years old, right? But the thing is, tomorrow's promised to no one, right? So you want to protect your family today. It's worth more, to have that coverage for your family than even, people pay $300 a month for cable. We spend so much on our car insurance where we may never use it. Life insurance, we will use one day, because we all die one day, right? And you don't want to leave your family with that burden of your debt, and you don't want to leave them where it's impossible for them to continue to pay their bills. You want to leave them in a place where you could be at peace knowing that they're okay, and that's the reason. Even if you're single, you want to have at least a little so your family can bury you and give you that respect at the end.
I mean, that's very profound. I mean, there's so much takeaways from this very, very wonderful session with Jenny Jones. And if you think about it, whether you are a child, teenager, a youth, an adult, you can still subscribe for life insurance policy. It is very, very important. I mean, so much things that she has said. It's one way to transfer generational wealth to your children, your spouses after your demise, and it's also another way to protect your family even while you are gone, because you just don't want to leave them. I mean, it's so embarrassing for someone who has been working for years, like you've been working all your life, and after death, then your family starts raising GoFundMe for you, when you can just have a life insurance policy that will take care of that and save your family from any of such embarrassment. And Jenny's email address is going to be displayed on the screen. At the bottom of the screen, just check at the end of this video. Our email address is going to be there. Email her, ask questions. If you need clarifications about how you want to subscribe, or maybe you don't even understand the existing insurance policy that you have, please do. Let us know. Just no amount of prayer you're going to pray as Christians, or whether Muslims, or there's no amount of prayer you're going to pray that's going to change the fact that we will all die one day. There's no amount of prayer that's going to change that. Everyone is going to die. And the only way to at least, leave something down for your family is just by having life insurance policy. So I hope Jenny has been able to do justice by this very amazing information that's given to us. And I thank you, Jenny Jones, for coming through again.
My pleasure.
And I hope we'll be able to have you.
Yes.
Whenever we call you, be able to have you
Of
come with us.
course.
Thank you once again. See you on the next episode. Once again, this is Proclaimer Christian Drama Ministry in Providence, United States. God bless you.